Hi, I'm Heather Jensen. I'm the lay minister for Yearning, and I'm here together with Vivian Preston Sellers, Vice President of the board.
Welcome, everyone.
Both of us are together on the task force for reopening, and the task force has been an effort that Vivian has been working on for quite a long time, thinking about the best ways for us to come back together.
And we're in the process of keeping our fingers and toes crossed that we'll start phase two this Saturday, May 1st, when people are allowed, if you will, to request meetings or events at UUFA for 10 people indoors or 25 people outdoors.
And so we are thinking about how we're going to make sure that this works well for everyone. And on the one hand, things are really simple if you're meeting indoors. Indoors requires a mask, but outdoors is a little bit different.
We've tried to figure out a way that we could not only follow CDC and medical advisory panel guidelines, but also allow people to covenant with one another. And Heather came up with that idea, so I'm going to let her explain to you what covenanting to be outdoors together means.
So with covenanting, like we're lucky that we have this process built into our faith to navigate and negotiate our relationships with one another. And because things are are complicated, not everyone is the same. No single policy makes sense. It seems really appropriate for people to come together and decide what they need and how they're going to be together outside. So, for instance, some people may not be able to be vaccinated, and other people will be able to, or already are. Some may choose to be vaccinated, and some may choose not to be. Some will have no health conditions that they need to continue to manage, and others will. And some will have children in their lives as parents and grandparents and need to make a range of choices about how they're going to protect their families, and others will not. So it's there's not a one size fits all. And so it is a perfect chance to come together and covenant.
And what this means is that if you attend a meeting or event outdoors at UUFA, you individually will have a chance to tell your leader whether you are comfortable with everybody being unmasked at that meeting or whether you would prefer for people to be masked. If your leader if you send to your leader that you would prefer for people to be masked, then it is requested of the leader that they require that of everyone at the meeting. We are trying to make the most vulnerable and the most anxious comfortable to be back onto the grounds at UUFA.
Yes. And so ideally this may happen in advance of the meeting, but we also want to make room for things to happen kind of spur of the moment. And so we're asking that people come to an outdoor meeting prepared to wear a mask. And that if you need and request that people around you all wear masks, that you go ahead and speak up. The leader then, as a part of the chalice lighting and opening words, can also take a moment to ask and kind of re-ask, are we good with this way forward, either masking or not masking? Is there anyone who would like us to wear masks? In part, that's because our circumstances are always changing and dynamic. Numbers change, our interactions with other people change. Um, and we may feel more comfortable one week to the next with a mask or without a mask. We also invite people in the group to raise the question if the leader hasn't or if no one has spoken up, just because this is a new practice and it's kind of hard to remember. Do I need to wear a mask here? What's, or asking. Um, so we just really invite everyone to work together to put this covenant in action and in practice. The other piece of this covenant is that we ask that everyone being asked to wear a mask do so without asking questions or probing, as a way to respect the privacy of the person who has asked that folks wear masks.
And part of that is not asking people if they have been vaccinated. To me, that is a very private thing. HIPAA has all kinds of regulations about letting people know about your medical history. So I and the task force really would like for the fellowship not to get divided by who's vaccinated and who's not vaccinated. It seems like a very much us and them kind of a dichotomy. And what we're trying to achieve here with this mask policy is that nobody has to give up any private information, that they just let people know, yes, I'm comfortable with everybody being unmasked, or I would prefer that people wear a mask around me.
It is also perfectly fine if people want to wear their own mask and everyone else be unmasked. So that there's a lot of room around this for people to design what they're comfortable with and what works for them.
Right.
And then finally, we do ask that outdoors, if you are unmasked, that we still maintain a 6 feet distance. That's still the kind of the recommendations from the CDC. If it's not possible to be 6 feet apart, then we ask that you go ahead and mask again.
There's a new graphic that I'm hoping that we're going to be able to put up at the fellowship that says that there are 3 best practices: be outdoors, be masked, and be socially distanced. And that 2 out of those 3 are recommended. So if you are outdoors and you are masked, then you can be a little closer together. If you are outdoors and you are socially distanced, you are very far apart, then you could get away with not wearing a mask.
Um, well, is there anything else we want to make sure that we talk about?
Well, just that both the board and the ministry council are working together to welcome people back. And we want that welcome to include not only your physical safety, which is the board's purview, but also your emotional and spiritual safety, this covenanting thing, this idea that we are all in this together and that we're going to make promises to one another. And the ministry council is working on that.
Yes, I think we all have that sense of like, oh, wow, how much being together really matters when we don't have it. And how lovely it is to be together in a three-dimensional sense. And to be able to enjoy seeing our full facial expressions and whatnot when that's appropriate and when all are comfortable. So we're delighted to be able to be moving back into this time of having this space, our beloved space, reopen. And we hope that this process of covenanting together, um, actually kind of increases the experience of our closeness and connection.
Thank y'all.